everyone.
Good morning, sir.
From today onwards, this will be the permanent link for all the theory classes. Students, today we'll see some of the concepts. That is, today we'll see some of the keywords. Then today also we'll see how to deal with the infinite loops. Then also let us see how to implement while loop and do while loop in Python. So far we have seen how to deal with for loop and also while loop, but I never told like how to implement do while loop. But it is not actually do while loop. Actually, it's a while loop within which we use if condition to come out of the while loop when the loop is infinite. So basically, the while loop will be infinite, and to come out of the loop, we use if condition. So that is how actually we implement do while in Python. So before that, we'll see some of the examples. Students, before going for this program, do while loop, you need to understand um, what is entry control loop and what is exit control loop. Have you heard about entry control and exit control loop, students? Hello? Hello, I want response, students. Have you heard about entry control loops and exit control loops? Anyone? Hello?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, tell me what is entry control loop?
Before entering the loop, we'll check the condition and we'll enter.
Yes.
The
That means before entering the loop itself, if we are checking the condition, then we are making an entry, then we call it as entry control loop. So what is the exit control loop? By default, you don't check anything. That means the condition of the loop is true, and after executing the iteration for one time, then you will check the condition whether the condition is true or false. So that is called as exit control loop. So that means we need to understand when to use entry control loops and when to use exit control loops. So that is the major difference is that when you use entry control loop, so you cannot execute the loop even once also if the condition is false. But when you go with the exit control loop, first by default it will execute one time the loop content. Then at the end it will check if condition whether the condition is satisfactory or not. That is exit control. So that means in entry there is no control because the loop is we'll set it as an infinite loop. Then after that we put the if condition. Okay, now tell me students some of the applications where we can use exit control loops. So far you have done so many programming, so many programs across multiple languages. Tell me what are all the instances in which you have used exit control loops? I want to know your understanding about the entry and exit control loops. Tell me some of the applications where we can use the exit control loops. Arjun, Vaishnavi, can you answer? Winnie, Sunil,
So do while loop.
yeah, do while loop. Tell me what are the applications when you tell me, sir, if this is the situation, I'll use do while loop. Tell me the application part of do while loop. When we can go with the do while loop. If you tell, sir, if this is a requirement, I'll go with do while loop. Otherwise, I don't go. Like that, you have to tell some application. Arjun? Arjun is not there? Hello? Sunil? Srinidhi? Nilanjan? Students, so far you have done so many menu-driven programs, isn't it? How do we implement menu-driven programs? Say, for example, you are dealing with stack. So one means you have to insert an element. Two means you have to delete an element. Three means display the elements of the stack. Four means exit. Any other choice means wrong input. Like that, you okay? Isn't it? So in that case, what we'll do, we'll write. Say, for example, if you are writing C program or C++. So you will write while of 1. So 1 is what? Positive value. It indicates positive value, which is nothing but the condition is true. Negative value always indicates the condition is false, isn't it? Then that means first, since the loop itself is in entry loop, that means the infinite loop. In case of infinite loop, always the condition of the while is true, isn't it? So then you will ask the user to enter his choice. Then based upon his choice, then you will decide whether to execute the next iteration or to terminate the program, isn't it? So that is one very popular application of exit control loops. So wherever you want to ask the user to enter his choice, whenever you want interactive input, then if you want to further validate that input, in such instances you can use exit control loops. For example, stack program. Then similarly, any data structure, say similarly for queue you can use like that. So wherever you are accepting interactive input and you want to validate the choice entered by the user, then you can use exit control loops. Okay, then tell me when you will use entry control loops, that is simple while loop or simple for loop. Those are entry control loops, isn't it? For is also entry controlled, and while is also simple while is also entry control loop. That means first we will check the condition, then we allow inside the loop. That is called entry control. So when we use entry control loops means whenever you want to perform certain operation in an iterative manner based upon the condition, then we use entry control loops. For example, you want to display the result of all the students. So that means you'll start with first student until the nth student you'll display. Similarly, you want to display the salary details of all the employees. You can start with employee 1 till last employee. So you can repeat it in a loop. That is, so there you'll put one condition. Say for example, if the condition is that if the employee exists, you'll display the details. That means first you will check the condition, then only you will allow inside the loop. So those are all called as entry control loops. Okay, students. So whenever we learn any programming construct like if condition or for loop, while loop, do while loop, any other loop. Even in some of the languages we have until loop and all. So when we use that, so we should know how under what circumstances we can use them. Now we'll see one example. So this example is a demonstration of two concepts. One is the how to use Boolean expression. Then another thing is how to implement do while loop in Python. See here actually, whenever we say do while loop, actually we use two keywords, do and while. But in Python we don't use that do and while. But here to achieve the same effect of do while loop, that is it's an exit control loop. So we write the condition like this. So in this example, I have taken one local variable I is equal to 1. I have initialized it to integer value 1. Then while true. So what is true? True is an keyword. This is inbuilt keyword in Python. True, it's a Boolean value. Similarly, false is there, F capital, and here true. So while true, that means the loop is infinite loop. You need to understand the moment when I say While true, you need to understand the loop is infinite. It is same as something like this, while of 1. Or, yeah, it is same as writing while of 1. So when the loop is infinite, print I value. So in the first iteration, I value is 1. Then increment I value, I is equal to I plus 1. If I is greater than 1, come out of the loop. Otherwise, you go with infinite loop. So in the next iteration, once again, anyhow, it will not check anything because the loop is infinite. While true, print I value, I is equal to I plus 1, that is 2. So 2 is less than 5. So condition fails. Once again, go here, print, isn't it? So here, once again, print the I value. Once again, you increment. Then once again, you check if the condition fails. Once again, go until you get I value 6. So when 6 is greater than 5, condition becomes true. Then come out of the if condition. If condition and also the while loop. That means here, basically the loop is infinite. We make it infinite using while true. While true indicates the loop is infinite. Then based upon this condition, so this is the deciding factor. This if condition is a deciding factor when to come out of the loop. Now, students, tell me what is the expected output of this program? Hello?
Prints 1 to 4.
Yeah, it prints 1 to 4. We'll see.
5, sir, 5.
Hmm?
5 or 4.
5 or 4. Okay.
4, sir.
4. See what it is printing. See, if I is greater than 6, that is if 6 is greater than 5, then only break will execute, otherwise it will not execute. By the time it would have printed 5, isn't it? Say for example, now here the I value is 5, so print 5. So I is equal to I plus 1, 6. So 6 is greater than 5, then execute break, isn't it? Otherwise it won't, until I value becomes 6, it won't execute break. So when the I value has become 6, before that it has printed the I value as 5. So that's why here we get up to 5 numbers, 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5. So you may get a 3 to 4 mark simple question. In Python, demonstrate Boolean expression with an example, or demonstrate do while loop with an suitable example, like that. So if that is the case, instead of scratching your head and writing some complex program, you can write some simple program like this. That's why for a program, I'll give some comments such that you'll come to know this program is a demonstration for which concept. Now you'll see the demonstration of range keyword. See, already we know how to see this. This is also the demonstration of range keyword and end keyword. So for how you are displaying the new line by using /n, isn't it? See here. You want, see, if you want to display the escape sequences, you can use end keyword. Whenever you want to use, see here also you could use, you can see here, just I'll highlight this new line. Here also you could use end is equal to within, that is, I'll make a comment, print of end is equal to double quote /n double quote end. So this is the equivalent statement of print of new line. Okay, first we'll see this first for loop. So in the first for loop, what we are doing, we are taking I as the iteration variable, I in range of 5. That means only we are see, we are not giving the initial value. That means it has to start with what? Student, tell me what is the initial value if you do not give I value? Here actually you should give print, sorry, for I in range of 0, 5, or you should give 1, 5, isn't it? But here you can see here we are not at all specifying what is the initial value, but we are specifying the upper value, that is 5. We need to print I value up to 5, isn't it? Now let us see what is the output. So what is the initial value? That means you can see here this is the first for loop. This is output of the first for loop. Only observe this line, the first line. So it is starting with 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. That means the meaning is that overall 5 values you have to print, but you start with, so up to 5 you have to print. So if you do not specify any initial value, it will assume 0, 5. If you specify only range of 5, it will assume same as range of 0, 5. So what is that range? Range is a function actually. Range is a function, inbuilt function, which is used to specify the range of the loop. Print I, then look at here, to display the tab, we use the end keyword. End is equal to within single quote /t. What is /t? It's a escape sequence which is used to display one tab. Similarly, /n means new line, like that. So print I value ranging from 0 to 5, 0 to 4, because here the meaning is that also same as for I is equal to 0 in C program, I is less than 5, I plus plus. So this is the equivalent statement. That means starting with 0, from 0 to 4 display all the elements within the range. That means we have to display 0, 1, 2, 3, and 4. Then look at this second for loop. Here also once again we are using the range, but here instead of printing starting with 0, we are specifying what is the initial value of for loop. Now this is same as for. Tell me students, what is the equivalent for loop? I'll write
I is equals
or
to 1,
I is equal to 1. Yes.
I less than 5,
I is less than
5,
5. Then
I plus plus.
I plus plus.
ಸರ್
Okay.
ನಾವು ಇದೇ ತರನ ಬರೀಬಹುದಾ ಸರ್?
ಏನಪ್ಪಾ ಇಲ್ಲ, Python uses this kind of
Range.
syntax. Yes.
Okay.
Python use like this kind of syntax. Whereas in normal C and C, C++ and Java, see Java supports both the syntaxes. Even JavaScript supports both the syntaxes. So here we have 3 parts. The first part is called as the initialization, where we have initialized I is equal to 1. Second part is called as the condition, where you can write any condition. So in this case, we have written I is less than 5. And the third part is, it can be either increment or decrement. It can be either increment or decrement. Okay, so here we are incrementing in each iteration I value. But when you use Python syntax like this, so internally it will be expanded. The interpreter will understand like this. The interpreter will understand. So you have initialized I is equal to 1. Then in each time you are checking whether the I value is less than 5 or not. Then after each iteration you are incrementing the I value by one number. And at the same time, you can also increment the I value by more than one number. That I'll show you in the next example. Now, as per this example, so what are all the numbers it has to print? 1 to 4. Let us see. Yes, it has printed in the second for loop 1 to 4. After each number, we have given the tab. You can see here how we have given the tab. print I value, then end is equal to within single quote slash t. This is another way of implementing the escape sequences by using end keyword. So without using end keyword means simply we can display like this, normally how we do within the print statement. Okay, students, any doubt in this? How to use the range? What happens if you specify two values, and what happens if you specify only one value within the range function? Now we will see another variant of the range function where we use three values. See here the three values means it indicates that the initial value of the I is 0 and the uppermost value, that is upper limit value, is 10. Then this 2 indicates that in each after each iteration you increment I value by 2 numbers. Now after each iteration we have to increment the I value by 2 numbers. Now students, tell me what is the equivalent for loop? What is the equivalent for loop? Tell me. For I is equal to, students?
Sir, I is equals to 0.
I is equal to 0. Yes.
I less than 10.
I is less than 10. Then
I plus 2.
I plus 2 ala, I plus is equal to 2 or I is equal to I plus 2. I plus is equal to 2 or I is equal to I plus 2. That means after every iteration we increment the I value by 2 numbers. Now what is the expected output from this, students? What is the expected output?
Zero
Zero.
to 468.
0 to
468.
468. What about 10?
It won't come.
10, yeah, it will not, because here the condition fails. 10 is less than 10, condition fails. Why? Because 10 is equal to 10, so therefore it won't print 10. It prints 0 to 4, 6 and 8. We'll see the output. Yes, look at the last line. It has printed 0 to 4, 6 and 8. Because see in the first iteration it starts with initial value 0, so 0 is less than 10, true. Then print I value, then I plus is equal to 2, that means I is equal to I plus 2. So that means in the next iteration I value becomes 2, 2 is less than 10. Yes, come inside the loop, print I value, then increment I value by 2. Now 2 has become 4, I value has become 4, 4 is less than 10, print 4, then increment I, now I has become 6, 6 is less than 10, print 6, then increment I value, now in the next iteration I is 8, 8 is less than 10, come inside, then print I, that is print 8, then once again increment I value by 2, now I value is 10, 10 is less than 10, condition fails, so that means we will come out of the for loop. Control S to save, then F5 to run. You can see 0 to 4, 6 and 8. What is the takeaway from this program? From this program, we understood two concepts, that is how to use range in different ways. We can use range with single parameters, 2 parameters, and also 3 parameters. When we use single parameter, that means you are specifying only the upper bound value, we are not specifying the initial value. So when you do not specify the initial value, it will assume initial value is 0. Then when you specify 2 parameters for range function, it will assume the first parameter is the initial value and the second one is the upper limit. Then when you use 3 parameters, the first one is the initial value, third one is the upper limit, the second one is the upper limit, and third one is the value that you need to increment after every iteration. Then second concept that we learned from this program is how to use end keyword. What is the purpose of end keyword, students? To deal with escape sequences like tab new line, we use end keyword. End is equal to, we need to specify the escape sequence within single quote. So this program only, I think we see, this is actually two lines of code, but see, even the code is very small. You can see here, but in this, with this piece of code, we are demonstrating two concepts. That is demonstration of dealing with one character at a time in a loop. How to deal with one character. So here, instead of the array, here you have a string. Instead of an array or a list, here you have a string by name hello. Then here you need to take one character at a time. Then you need to print the character. Then next thing is demonstration of end keyword. Here for I in hello, for I in hello, print I value in each iteration. Then after printing the I value, you print one tab space. Let us see how this will work. Run module. See, in the first iteration it has printed H, in the second iteration E, then L, in the next iteration L, then in the last iteration it has printed O. Then one more thing, since we have given end is equal to tab, after printing the character it has to display one tab space. One tab space is nothing but by default. See, in some systems one tab means 8 characters, and in some systems one tab means 16 characters. Here I think it has taken the space of 8 characters. It has taken this the space of 8 characters. That is the meaning of one tab. That's the demonstration. Students, when you are dealing with the string, like this, you have a for loop. You just specify the string value here. Then in each iteration, here in the first iteration, I represents H. It will print H. In the second iteration, I represents E. Then in the third iterations, I represents L. Then in the fourth iteration, once again it will represent another L, and in the last iteration it will represent O. After that there is nothing. So when it comes to when it identifies the end of the string, it will come out of the loop as well. Students, then we'll see one more infinite loop program. Look at the problem statement here. You have an infinite loop that reads value of x until you enter negative number. That means by default, the nature of the loop is infinite loop. You can see here, while true, that means the nature of the loop is infinite loop. So on up to what time it will repeat until you enter the negative number. The loop will keep asking you to enter a number. The moment when you enter a negative number, the loop will stop. For that, see what we have done. While true, that means infinite loop. X is equal to input of enter a number. Then by using the int constructor, we are converting x value into integer type. So whatever you enter from the keyboard is stored in variable x. If x is greater than or equal to 0, print you have entered x, else you have entered a negative number, then break. Look at here, very important. This is a terminating instruction. Student, is this a do while loop? Hello?
Yes, sir.
Student, yes. This is an do while loop. So we don't use the do keyword. So instead of calling it as do while loop, we call it as an exit control loop, because here we are not using the do keyword, isn't it? In shell script and in C, C++ and all, we were using do and while, both keywords. Here there is no do keyword. So instead of that, just we use while condition, then under that if condition. So if condition will decide when to come out of the loop. Students, any doubt in this in implementing infinite loops or do while loops? Students, I have one question for you. What is the difference between do while loop and infinite loop? Anyone? Anyone can answer. Differentiate infinite loop and do while loop. Hello?
Sir, infinite, it has no end, sir. It will be on executing.
Yo. Therefore, whether it contains if condition?
If condition is not required, I think, sir, for
Yeah, not required to see. See, the purpose of in a do while, the purpose of using if condition is to set the criteria when to come out of the loop. When you do not set any such criteria, which will decide when to come out of the loop, we call it as infinite loop. Okay, now we will execute this program. So that means the difference between infinite loop and do while loop is that infinite loop will never come out of the execution. It will keep executing. Just we have to interrupt to stop the execution. Whereas in case of do while loop, we will write a condition which will decide when the loop will stop based upon certain condition. So that's the difference between infinite loop and do while loop. Now let us see what is the output of this program. Enter a number. So I'll enter 5. You have entered 5. I'll enter 10. You have entered 10. 20. You have entered 20. 33. 0. I have entered 0. 37. So now what is the criteria that will decide to come out of the loop?
Negative loops.
A negative number. So this is the nature of the loop is infinite loop. The moment when I enter negative number, say minus 22, then it will come out of the loop. So now the program has terminated. You have entered a negative number like this. So that's why I told whenever you expect the user to enter the interactive input until some condition is satisfied. So until that you keep asking the user to enter the data. Then ultimately at some point of time when the condition violates, you can stop the user input. In such circumstances we can use infinite loops. Students, now let us look at here. What happens if I make these lines comments? Now, the body of the while loop is only up to here. Now, what kind of loop it is? Students, now you look at the program. Now the program is only this much. While true, x is equal to enter a number, then convert it into integer. If x is greater than or equal to 0, you have entered x. What happens?
Infinite.
Infinite loop. It will never come out, isn't it? What about this? What about this? Whether this will come out?
No, sir. Until break is invoked.
Yes. Control S. Okay, look at here. I'll enter 5. You have entered 5. See here, I will enter -2, but still it is asking. I have entered -2, which is a negative number. You have entered a negative number. Then I'll enter 67. You have entered 67. Then okay, 1 minute. It was not visible. Okay, look at here. I'll enter 10. You have entered 10, 12. I have entered 2, 4, 5, -3. You have entered negative number, but still it is not coming out of the loop. It will keep asking, isn't it? It will never stop. Now, if I want to stop this, what should I do, students? What should I do? How to come out of this infinite?
You have to give some negative value.
No, see, I am giving negative value, -44. But it is not coming out. Just you observe here. Have made this break as a comment. So that means there is no way to come out of this infinite loop. So now that is where we need to use break here. Now you tell me how to come out of the loop here. What to press? Control C. Control C. Keyboard interrupt. You can see here the last line. You can see here keyboard interrupt. Control C. Okay, now I have enabled break. I have removed the comment. Now if I run, now as you said, if I enter the negative value, say -2, it will come out of the loop. That is how we need to deal with infinite loops. Control O. Open. You will see one more program, which is once again based upon loops. Look at the problem statement. Read a number from the keyboard. If that number is odd, without doing anything else, just move to next iteration. That means if it is a odd number, you don't do anything, don't take any action, just move to the next iteration for reading another number. If the number is even, add it to the sum and increment the accumulator variable. That means he is telling that just you need to count the even numbers, then you maintain one local variable by name accumulator. That means counter variable. Accumulator means nothing but one counter variable. Then you increment whenever you encounter even number. Say for example, if I enter one even number, you increment one time the counter variable. Second time when you get the even number, once again increment the accumulator. Like that you should keep doing. When accumulator crosses 5, that means when the count of the accumulator becomes 5, stop the program. That means you need to count first 5 even numbers. That is the problem statement. Okay, you keep asking the user to enter a number like that. Let him enter in an infinite loop. The moment he finishes entering 5 even numbers, then your program should display the output and come out of the, and it should stop the execution. So now initially we need two variables, sum is equal to 0 and count is equal to 0. While true, which is nothing but an infinite loop, loop, read the value of a number and consider that as x. Then you need to do necessary typecasting to integer type, because by default it is string. Even though if you enter a number value, it will be treated as string. So you need to typecast to integer. Then check the division modulo. How to check the even number? If the remainder, when you divide it by 2 and the remainder is 0, we consider it as even. When it is not equal to 0, just continue with the next iteration. Say for example, I will enter 3. So the remainder is 1, which is not equal to 0. Continue. Continue means continue with next iteration. Once again, while true, enter a number. Now I will enter, say for example, 4. 4 percentage 2 is equal to 0, isn't it? Is equal to 0. Come to else part. Sum is equal to sum plus x. That initially sum is equal to 0. 0 plus sum is equal to 0 plus 4. That is sum is equal to 4. Then count is equal to count plus 1. That is count is equal to 0 plus 1, 1. Then if count is equal to 5, break. So this condition fails. So here it will come. Condition fails. Once again it will go to while loop. While true, then say for example, next I'll enter 6. X percentage t percentage 2 is not equal to 0. What is remember x 6 percentage 2? It is 0. So now here come here, sum is equal to sum plus x. So earlier of x is sum is 4. Sum is equal to sum plus x. That is 4 plus 6, 10. Count is equal to count plus 1. Count is equal to 1 plus 1, 2. If 2 is equal to 5, no, condition fails. Once again, go to while loop. Like that until the count becomes 5. You need to keep asking the user, enter a number, enter a number. So that means the intention is that to read a number from the keyboard, if that number is odd, then without doing anything else, just move to the next iteration for reading another number. If the number is even, add it to the sum and increment the counter variable or the accumulator variable. When the accumulator or the counter crosses 5, stop the program. So here, before stopping the program, you are displaying what is the sum. Okay. Now let's see what is the output. Enter a number. I'll enter 5. Students, now you tell me what it should do, whether it should count. Hello? 5 percentage d. What is the remainder? 1. Whether it should count or it should skip?
Skip, sir.
It should skip. Okay, fine. Now I'll enter 6. Whether it should skip or count now?
Count.
It should count because the remainder is 0. Okay, keep in your mind we have 6. Then I'll enter 8. What about this? It should skip or it should count. So 6 plus 8 is 14. Now I'll enter 9. What about this?
Skip, sir.
Skip. Okay. Then 10.
It will count.
It should count. So 14 plus 10, 24. Then 3. Whether to skip or count?
Skip, sir.
Skip. Okay. 4. What about 4? To skip or count?
Count, sir.
24 plus 4, 28. Then 20. What about 20?
It will count.
28 plus 20?
58.
48. So far how many even numbers are over? 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5. Now it should terminate. Yes, see here. It is displaying 48 and it is terminating. That means, so just the task of the user is just to keep entering the numbers. But the task of the program is that it should see that, so the user will enter 5 even numbers. So each time when he is entering even number, you should maintain a counter. So initially counter is equal to 0. Then you keep counting as and when he enter the even number. At the same time, whenever you find the even number, you do the summation, you cumulative sum, do the cumulative sum. For that, we have used this statement. Sum plus is equal to x, which is nothing but sum is equal to sum plus x. So this will do the summation cumulatively. And finally, just before terminating the program, we are displaying the sum, that is sum is equal to 48. Okay, students, like this, we to deal with the loops. See, for any programmer, the main strength is that the capacity of the programmer to deal with controlling and looping structures. See, other things here easily, see, if you just Google, you will get the name of the inbuilt function, name of the, sorry, any function, syntax, number of parameters, its definition, everything you will get. Only thing is that the way how you implement the logic, that is very, very important. So that is called as the actual basics. So we should be strong at implementing the basics. So that's why today I am showing you, like in Python, how to deal with loops, infinite loops, how to deal with entry control loops, exit control loops, and so on. Students, that's all for today's class. Now I'll take the attendance. 1 minute. Double 6475. Students, answer for the attendance. USN 1.
Present, sir.
Hello. 2. 2. Abhinav Gupta. 4. 3 absent. Aishwarya.
3, sir.
3 present. Okay.
4 present,
4.
sir. 4 present, sir.
5. Yes. 5.
Present, sir.
6.
Present, sir.
7.
Present, sir.
8.
Present,
8.
sir. 8 present, sir.
9. Yes. 9.
9 present, sir.
10. 10. Bhargav. 11.
11 present, sir.
11. Bhavisha. 12.
11 present, sir.
12.
Present, sir.
Mitra.
Present, sir.
12 is also present. 13.
Yes,
Sir, 13 present, sir. Present, sir.
14. 14.
Present, sir.
15.
Present, sir.
15. 16.
Present, sir.
17.
Present, sir.
18.
Present, sir.
19.
Present, sir.
20.
Present, sir.
21.
Present, sir.
22.
Present, sir.
23.
Present, sir.
24. Kishore. 25.
Yes, sir.
26.
Present, sir.
27.
Yes, sir.
28. Naina. 29. 29. Nilanjan Biswas. Who is his friend? Can anyone inform to Nilanjan? He is
Yes,
likely
sir,
to be
he is-
detained. What happened to him?
Actually, sir, he is now in now okay, but I don't know why he not attending the class. He's okay, but
Where
I
he
think
stays?
network issue. He stays in West Bengal, sir. Me also
Okay.
stay in West Bengal,
Hmm.
and
At least you talk to his
okay, sir.
parents.
I
You convey him because this time with you is very strict. So otherwise, simply this time also, if they do not conduct the examinations, there will be no value for your certificates, isn't it? So that's why this time,
yeah, sir.
at any cost, they are conducting the examinations, and this
Okay, sir. I let him know.
online attendance will be considered this time.
Okay, sir. Okay, sir.
29.
I let
Yeah,
him know his
yeah,
parents.
yeah. Do that.
Okay, sir.
30.
Yes, sir.
Present, sir.
Now TD series USN 2,
Present, sir.
3,
Present, sir.
4,
Present, sir.
5,
Present, sir.
6,
6 present, sir.
7,
Present, sir.
8,
Yes, sir.
9,
Present, sir.
10,
Present, sir.
11,
Sir, present.
Yes, sir.
Ravi Shankar,
Yes, sir.
12,
Present, sir.
13,
Present, sir.
14,
Yes, sir.
16, 16, Shruti, 17, Sneha, 18,
Present, sir.
19,
Present, sir.
20,
Present, sir.
21,
Present, sir.
22,
Present, sir.
23.
Present, sir.
That's all, students, for today. Tomorrow we'll meet in the lab session. For lab there is a different this one Google Meet ID. You have it you. Tomorrow you can
Okay,
join at
sir.
lab time. Okay, thank you. Bye.